What's going on, guys? Thank you guys so much for being here today. This is episode 105. 105, that's usually after 100, that's usually the number they stop at, making jerseys, I know in NASCAR, I think they have triple digits and stuff, but, in the NBA and NFL, I think hockey too, I think they they stop making numbers after 99. And I think there's a thing called 00, which I don't think 00 is a real number. I mean, if there's a decimal in the middle, maybe, like you think about it, there's a middle decimal inside zeros and stuff. But when I look at the number 00, I don't really, I don't think it's a number. In elementary school, they didn't tell me, hey, it goes 00 and then 0 and then 1. I wasn't taught that. I taught there was, 0 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, and the other half of the 5 too. I was taught. It's not that I don't remember what they were, but those were the numbers that I was taught. 1 through 5 and the other 5. So welcome to episode 105. Today is January 9th, 2022. We're finally in that year, so make sure you guys get used to writing that 22 at the end of the papers. A lot of you guys are going to be putting 21 at the end still, and that's okay. That's just kind of what happens. I don't really put anything past anyone who goes through that kind of thing. It's something that we all go through. But again, let's start this episode up right. Let's get ETG in here. Start it off right. Actually, if you guys haven't heard yet, ETG, or I should say Verbose. I keep messing that up. I should say Verbose, my good friend. He just released a new song, Jetlag, so we're going to play that today. So give a shout out to him. Go check it out. Go watch it on the platforms and YouTube. And we're going to get started with Jetlag, so let's get this started.
Talking like a lunatics, she on the Buddha shit, prove it if you know the way. Baby, lose the lip, I don't wanna hear a no case, Spider-Man. If you scared and go and lose another chance, show me you a freak, baby, I know where to land. I just touched down and it never getting jet lag, and I'm never getting jet lag, and I'm never getting jet lag. There's a price switch, way to live this life, no it's priceless.
That was Jetlag by Verbose. If you guys are a big fan of that, tell him DJP sent you. Big fan of his work. Big fan of a lot of stuff he's been doing for a long time. Has that studio quality of music. A lot of people don't really have that. When you first start music, you kind of sound like you're underwater, and you kind of sound like you're just now getting to it. Maybe it sounds a little washed up, but hey, nothing you start is perfect. That's kind of the thing that happens. Like sometimes you go to a res tourney and you're not really the best team there. Sometimes you're going to walk into the gym and you're going to walk out with Mr. Hustle. You got to be okay with that. You're not going to always come out with that jacket. You're going to come out with sportsmanship awards, maybe a couple bruises, or, maybe your bag got stolen or something, but you're not always going to walk out with that leather jacket. You might not even walk out with the crew necks either. You might walk out with, a little tray of nachos that has way too much cheese, like the 4 nachos, the chips ate too much of, the top 4 chips always have the most cheese, and no one really wants to eat those. I got lactose and, I'm lactose intolerant. I don't really want to eat the top layer of the nachos, and that's just how it goes. I wondered about that as a long time as a kid. Why was I chosen to be a lactose intolerant? Was that my path? And I guess it was my path, to be lactose intolerant and to not eat the cheese. There's a lot of cheese out there that, a lot of people like, like cheddar being one of them, American. I think Canadian cheese probably has one. American cheese has a cheese. I'm sure Canada does, France maybe has a cheese, I wonder if other countries have, cheeses like how we have American. Let me get American. They got, France. I don't know if Easter Island is a country. Let's look that up. I think they're just Easter Island. I'm going to look this up real quick. So Is Easter Island a country? Okay, Easter Island is part of Chile, so no, they are not a country. That'd be pretty cool, though. I mean, I always thought about, if Easter Island was a country. I want to go there. I think I brought that up every episode, or maybe every other episode. But I don't even really remember where I was going with that. If I can really think about it, I was talking about tournaments. And I was talking about, why I was chose to be lactose intolerant. I don't know. Some people have harder allergies, that's for sure. I know one allergy out there is gluten. That's a hard one. Some people also can't do good with red dye. And that's something too. Oh, shoot. What I totally forgot to notice is I have a new blanket behind me. Yes, I have a new blanket behind me. And before I, go on a little farther, I want to talk about, I got this blanket from 8th Generation. Shout out to my cousin Gianni. She actually hooked it up with this. It is from 8th Generation. And 8th Generation is a Seattle-based lifestyle brand owned by the Snoqualmie tribe. They provide a strong, ethical alternative to Native-inspired art and products through our Arctic-centric approach and 100% Native design products. Our Inspired Native project, anchored by the tagline, Inspired Natives, Not Native-inspired, builds businesses capacity among cultural artists while addressing the economic impact of cultural appropriation. Thank you for supporting Inspired Natives and not Native-inspired. This is Inspired Natives right here, man. And shout out to the artist who made this today. It's David Robert Boxley. He's a Shimshan, and he's from the village of, I really don't want to say it wrong, so I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna say it, Metalakatala. God, I should learn how to say that, and I'm sorry for messing that up. But he's from Alaska and began learning carving from his father. David, at the age of 6, has since studied under the master Haida carver Robert Davidson, and after moving away for a period of time, has returned to live in his village to help in efforts to save his people's language. Wow, that's awesome. So shout out to David for the blanket, for the inspiration behind this. If you guys are really interested in where I got this blanket, is from 8th Generation. I'm not sponsored, by the way. I should say that now. But I really like what they're doing over there. And I would love to have the opportunity to talk to one of them one day, whether it be the guy who made the blanket or the company. So yeah, us at Domdros Podcast here, we really like what Inspired Natives. Actually, I think that's how, Inspired Natives. Inspired Natives, not Native inspired. So I'm really, I really like what they're doing over there. That's just how it goes, I just like what people are doing out there. I like how people are traveling, Traveling is a thing too, I'm not condoning going out to traveling right now because I know COVID is a thing and a lot of people are worried about that, and I understand. Some people don't got their boosters, some people can't get their shot, some people don't want to get their shot, some people have their shot. Those are really the full spectrum of what you have there. But back then, traveling was a lot more prominent. People were driving to Oklahoma for basketball tournaments. They're driving up to the Northwest. They're driving to California. It was a lot. It happened, and people still make that journey. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But, looking at it now, when I was a kid, I would go to basketball tournaments, and they would be at our res. They'd be really low key. They were kind of highlights of my childhood. My mom would bring us when we were young, and we got to hang out with our family. And, I saw it all. I saw our family, win the whole tournament without losing. I've seen them losing buzzer beaters. I've seen them lose the first 2 games and we head home early. There's a whole bunch of things that happen in basketball tournaments. And one of them that always makes me laugh is actually, if you guys don't know what a basketball tournament is, it's basically a basketball and it's a tournament. So then teams from all over the country, mainly natives, would play against each other, and people would travel all the time, and it would be a way for people to meet from other tribes, kind of like a powwow. A lot of people say, oh, is your tradition just dancing or singing? And, we have that, but 20 years ago, it was really sports heavy. And I'm not saying those things weren't a thing, but in my life, it was really more, I was more of a spectator. I was not, the best athlete by any means. But I had cousins who were, and I get to talk about it. So basketball tournaments were always really funny. And one thing that always made me laugh about every time, or whenever I go to the YMCA and play basketball, is actually, you're at the YMCA playing basketball, and there's this guy who's just getting locked up. And there's a difference between somebody getting locked up and not being able to score, and then there's the guy who cannot score on the people who are younger than him. And that they get so mad when a full-grown adult is getting locked up by a high schooler at the YMCA. I've never seen anybody more mad. It's like, bro, calm down. We are just playing to 11 points at the YMCA. There doesn't need to be name calling. There doesn't need to be the tripping. Someone's mad when they're trying to pull the trip card. Oh, I didn't even mean to. Bro, you just tripped a 16-year-old because he just hit an eye in your face and dabbed. Like, that is pretty disrespectful, But you got to remember at the same time, you are an adult. Those same adults will go to the res tourney, and they're happy, and they walk in with their bag and maybe their Letterman's jacket or maybe their leather jacket from another tournament. Like, oh man, there's what's his name, and he comes in all hot and hot, thinks he's hot stuff. That's what I mean. That's what I mean by that. Walks in and then I'm trying not to laugh by saying this, but they get in the game and, everyone's going on and everyone's like, all right, we're watching the tournament and this player's out there and they really think they're doing something great. And they go out there and they just think it's the NBA. And sometimes it is. Sometimes these basketball tournaments are really like the NBA, man. Like, I want to eventually get to a point where I can make this podcast a broadcast thing and I can host a tournament and broadcast it. I think that would be really cool to kind of give back. I don't know. I just think it would be cool. And it's just like, giving back to the sport or giving back to the community that helped me have a great childhood. I always wondered a lot of things, and I thought how to host a tournament would be really cool. And I've seen people do it, and it's definitely doable. But man, those gym kids at those travel tournaments though, they're the ones that are the real troopers, because here's the age, when you're young, you could go run around with your friends until like one of you guys starts acting up. Say you guys are at you're a group of kids and you're running around and you spill Gatorade on the floor while you're running. You got to sit next to grandma the whole time now. And it's 10 o'clock a.m., it's your weekend and all, but you got to listen to what your grandma's saying. You can't just leave. And the thing is the grandma's sitting there to watch all the games, or the auntie or the uncle. They're not leaving. They're not bringing you home. So don't even ask. Sit down and watch the games. Your cousins come and play at 7, 10 o'clock. You're starting to get hungry. Your grandma gave you like a hot dog at like 11. It's like 5 o'clock and you're like, man, I'm just hungry. You start walking around. You can't leave the gym because you're too young to leave outside of their vision. So you're just like, where am I going to go? You go to every vendor, you go to every concession, you go to ask every distant cousin who you're kind of cool with for $5, and they tell you, man, I don't got it, They have their own 9 kids to worry about, You're not on their list. So you start like going around, and eventually, you're just sitting there and you get a $5, that $5 is just, you can get Starburst, you can get a Gatorade and nachos. For some reason, as a kid, I always wanted nachos. It was just the way it kind of was. There's hot dogs, there's hamburgers, and maybe sometimes there's popcorn. Those are usually more high school games, but at the res tournaments, it was hot dogs, burgers, fry bread, or nachos. And sometimes if you're at a nice res, that a nice kitchen, you'd get chili, but that's kind of a rare occurrence. I'm just gonna say that right now. But man, being those kids, and not having somewhere to go at that age, you're just praying for somewhere to be, and sitting there till 10, like you're say this is in the situation where your cousins or your uncle or whoever, your auntie or your your anything or anyone goes in and they, oh man, I lost my train of thought because Rob texted me. So if you guys know who Rob is and you're directly related, who I am, give him a text and tell him that he just interrupted the chat. But that's something you worry about as a kid. You have nothing to do, and there's always those situations where you have to wait and watch. You have to watch these basketball games. You have to watch these people fight. You have to watch them yelling at the refs all day, and then they complain and say, like, why do you guys act like them out there? Because we didn't have anything to do from 10 till 7 and we just watched our cousins get mad at the refs. So what? I don't know how to replicate that, not replicate it as a kid, because as a kid you replicate everything. That's just how it goes, I guess. And especially when you pull up to a new res and you pull up and you end up beating the home team, those boos just hit different, man. You drive up, you guys have your team, you have your squad put together, you go into the home, different reservation, you take the win. People don't like that, man. People don't like that. You got your whole squad and you think like, hey, we're going to go and win it and we're going to be cool. You start getting booed, man. People bring out the insults you've never even heard of. It's crazy. It's crazy too, because every time I go to the restaurant now, anywhere, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like a little bit more cool with ordering soda. Like, hey, you know what? I'm not saying I'm giving up on the body or anything, but I'm 24 years old, So I'm looking at pop like, hey, it's enjoyable, So I ordered a Pepsi today, and I said this is an adult thing I kind of noticed, and I'm kind of giving myself props to. If you guys don't agree, then, you don't even have to agree. But I say, you know what? I'll order a Pepsi or Coke, whatever you got. And that right there, I think, was a moment of maturity. But here's the thing. I was really hoping it was Pepsi. And I've been in situations, too. I'm going to just come out and say it. As a kid, I was team Coca-Cola. And I thought I was above the Pepsi grind. I thought I was like, hey, Pepsi ain't for me, man. I'm trying to be different. I got to break that generational trauma, break away from Pepsi. I like Coca-Cola. As I started getting older, started going to the Pepsi, man. You just have that pressure. And I think that pressure eventually came into me and said, hey, you're ordering Pepsi from now on. I'm at Pepsi now. I went from Coca-Cola as a kid, didn't really know much. Now I'm at the Pepsi level, think I'm level-headed, And as soon as you think you're there, there's a whole nother level right here, And that level, Diet Pepsi, man. I'm not even there yet. There's some people also, I think, even after the Pepsi level, there's levels of the soda for natives. I think it goes, Pepsi or Coke. Then you get to Diet Coke or Pepsi, man. It's a different level up there, man. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and then the Diets are like the hierarchies. The Diet Cokes and Diet Pepsis, don't even bother touching them if they're in the fridge. That's really the only rule. Don't touch the last Coca-Cola, the last Pepsi, or the last Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke, because they're not mine. And I don't even need to say anything. I don't even need to tell you what's going to happen if you have them. And people, wondering who actually probably weren't part of Native country or aren't Native, and that's okay. Basically, it's the same thing as don't touch your dad's ginger ale in there, or don't touch your dad's Budweiser, don't touch whatever, Everyone has their soda when they get home, and when they get home, they want to drink it. I've been wanting to drink a lot more seltzer water, but I'm getting, trying to figure out new ones and stuff. And that's just how it goes, I guess, trying to figure out some new things to drink. I used to know this one kid, actually. He in high school, he referred to himself as Geezy. That's the nickname I'm kind of using because I don't want to say his actual name, So Geezy was this guy who, was kind of just one of those guys who, he had friends, he's a regular dude, had all his limbs and, all his fingers and stuff. And he was just a normal guy, kind of a different guy, though, and I always wondered, like, hey, what's up? What's up, Geezy? He's, oh, what's up, Dom? And we were cool, and eventually, like, there's this, something kind of switched. And he started changing a little bit. And I was like, okay, cool. He's changing. That's good for him, changing his image. High school, a lot of people change their image, He starts coming to school with 2 liters. 2 liters of pop, about this big. I don't know how many fluid ounces are in 2 liters, but, I know it's 2 liters of pop. He starts coming in every morning, 7 o'clock. Or whenever we started school. Dang, it felt like we started school at 7:10. Yeah, I think it's like I would be pulling into school at like 6:50. So it was like 7:10, bell rings. Geezy's got a 2 liter of Sierra Mist, Orange Crush, Mountain Dew, and a Dr. Pepper. He's got like 4 of them. So I was like, oh, Geezy's hosting a pizza party. So I'm going to go naturally ask him. As a high school, you don't care what time it is. You're going to drink pop whenever, Yo, Chase, let me get some pop. And since I was cool with him, he gave me some, A lot of people weren't really cool with Geezy, A lot of people kind of thought of Geezy as a kind of a different guy. Not me, man. I don't judge, man. Because I'm walking in, too. At the time, I had a buzz cut, and I was kind of a quiet kid. I had some friends and stuff, but I wasn't, Mr. Popular. So I go up and ask him for some. He pours me some, and then it starts like he starts doing this for another couple days, and then he's like, hey, Dom, you want some? I was like, hey, man, I'm good. I don't really need any of that in the morning. I'll ask you at lunch if you have some. But then it started becoming a thing where people were going up to Geezy, and he started getting some fame from the 2 liters. I think he was selling them for a little bit. He didn't like to sell them though, because he liked them. He liked having soda. He liked being known as the soda guy. So Geezy would, walk around school with these 2 liters, almost like a human vending machine, this guy, So I was just like, okay, Chase, or didn't say his name, almost said it, but Geezy, was walking around and had all these pops, and something he wanted to be, how some people in high school want to be known as the class clown. Geezy wanted to be known as the 2 liter guy, the 2 liter soda guy. It started getting to the point where teachers were getting upset because he was plugging the whole class with soda or pop or soda pop or Coke or however you say it. And he would just supply people. He was the supplier. Like, this was like another step up from Gum. Like, Gum was like, yo, you my guy. But, like, if you pour someone a glass of Sierra Mist in the middle of class or Orange Fanta, you're cool. But then here's what happened. Here's what started to happen. People would actually start spilling. People started spilling the sodas. People started, kind of abusing Chase. They would not be like physically, but they would be asking him a lot for free, Or they would steal his 2 liters when he'd go to the bathroom. He had a target on his back doing this kind of stuff. This is all in high school. And, Geezy continued to sling the 2 liters and the drinks 2 liters, and he started being that. And then he started turning into a 2 liter monster. Not the Monster Energy drink, but like he started walking around just drinking it out of the liter, because then no one would ask him, because he was starting to not get any of his 2 liters anymore because everyone was asking him. And I think actually, so they had like I wasn't there senior year, but they had awards at the end of the year for everybody, and he like got some reps for it, or some props for it, and he was smiling ear to ear. And that was awesome, and that's really the end of the story. He stuck with it, and he was cool with being the 2 liter guy, and the thing is about him is, I hope he's out there, he's doing something, and yeah, he was that guy, and I still think about that. I always go back, and like I said before, I've gotten some flack from TikTok and stuff for talking about high school, because a lot of people are like, oh my god, high school was how long for you ago? You're right, it was pretty long ago, like probably 8 years now, but you still remember certain things. Just like in college, I can talk about many things in college that I probably remember. There's people who like to be recognized for that certain thing, and that's okay. Some people like a certain color and they rock that color for so long that people just start getting them that color of things, and then they never get anything different. My brother was kind of like one of those guys. He said he liked yellow, and I would always get him yellow stuff. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to get him yellow. But actually, it wasn't me that said that. It was Kuna who said, maybe you shouldn't get him something yellow. And then I was like, maybe she's low-key saying something, because I always get her something purple, and she liked purple. So maybe she's saying like, hey, just because he likes the color of that, don't mean give me that. And she said it in a nice way. But I'm just saying, that's what I kind of came to the conclusion of. So yeah, that was definitely an eye-opener, I should say. I'm really liking the background we got here. It's just awesome, While we're on the high school track, before I switch subjects on you, I took Latin. I didn't take Spanish. I took Latin. And the thing is with Latin is that I don't think I learned anything in Latin. And that is not because I didn't think the teacher was great. The teacher was an amazing teacher. Probably during the time I kind of knew some stuff, but now I can't think of it. But if I were to name 3 things on what I learned in Latin in high school, those 3 things were building a sword out of cardboard the night before with my friend Brock, how to fight with a sword and shield. We actually had at the end of the quarters, so like 2 times a year, we got to like build swords and shields and like LARP against each other, and that was cool. A lot of people might be like, oh, LARPing's lame. That was fun. That was during class too. That wasn't just like, during like after school club kind of thing. We got to make swords and shields and fight other high schoolers. That was cool to me. I was like, you know what? Spanish class is like making like tamales and stuff. We out here making shields and swords, man. But the thing is like the Spanish class got to be, they got to do Spanish stuff all year, which is awesome. They got like cool holidays. They got like great people, tortillas and culture, and Latin's got culture and stuff, but that was the Spanish class. I got to do both, but here, Latin, I was in Latin 1, and we were like fighting, we were learning hard stuff, and we kind of learned like hardcore like words, like scientific words and stuff that made you kind of know root words for like testing, like Homo sapien, I think. No, that was like science, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I got to learn how to make a shield. I got to learn how to fight with the shield, like how to be a good LARPer. And then lastly is Nero started the fire. Nero is one of the guys who started the fire in Rome in like year 62 BC, I think. Yeah, actually our teacher made a song about that, and that was great. I learned a little bit from that, and Latin was one of those things, man. You didn't think you would kind of learn something from it. That's like kind of like to be on the preachy side of things. That's kind of like how things go. You think you're only going to learn one thing, and then you learn multiple things within that thing. Like if you're learning how to speed eat, you're going to learn how to go to the store and get something. Actually, you already know. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't really want to go down this route of like that route, if that makes sense. What else has been going on in the news today? Omicron, stuff is going up through the roof because people are out there not wearing their masks, right? I think, or, I don't really know at this point. I don't really know what COVID, how it's spread. Like, I try to do my best and limit where I got to go and wear my mask. and I'm vaccinated. So, I mean, I think that's what I need to do. I think I did my part. Maybe I need to do more. I don't know. Been looking into the crypto space still, like I've been telling you guys. NFTs are something I've been looking at. Had lunch with my guys today. We went to watch the last Seahawks game of the year. And, man, we got to talk a lot of great things. And funny things. When you're just hanging out with your friends, you're just kind of just talking about nonsense almost. But, you get to meet some people and you get to have some good laughs. And I think that's a great thing. That's another thing is like when COVID hit, you weren't allowed to go do that. So I guess I say I'm doing my part, but I still went to Buffalo Wild Wings today. Oh, you know what else I did today? Oh, I'm sorry. I just totally burped into the mic, and that may have been gross. But anyway, I go to the gas station, packed. There's 12 pumps at this station that I went to, and it was packed. So I'm driving around, and they had a clothing donation thing, which is I was trying to donate some clothes, so I donated my clothes there. I had a shirt that said Hitter, Hitter, and it looked like Hitler, so I got rid of the sweatshirt. And it's one of my favorite comedians, Theo Von sweatshirt, and it was too close, it looked too much like it, and it was in red. I had to get rid of it. So I'm at I donate my clothes, I get some gas, and then I vacuum my car because my car was just dirty. It was really dirty. And I eventually go into the store, and my grandpa gave me the scratch ticket. And, the scratch ticket's where you get the quarter and you rub it off and they scan it and you see if you win. And most gas stations don't really want you to win because what I think in my head, I could be totally wrong, is if you are going to pay the lottery to supply the tickets for you to sell them, you also have to be okay with selling them. So you get the money when someone doesn't win, but when they do win, you're taking money from them. I think, or I don't know, maybe you get reimbursed, or maybe it takes a week to get reimbursed. So I go in there with the $10 ticket, and there's these two Asian ladies in front of me, and they had 4 tickets, and they were scanning. There's only one scanner thing, so this guy was so mad that he had to step to the other side of the counter to scan it and wait behind this other girl who was working there to scan the other ladies. And this guy was as soon as I handed it to him, he's oh my God. And he gave the lady a look another one of these, I wasn't going to win. And I forgot to scratch the barcode on the bottom. And so he had to do it. And he was just oh my God. This was him just super butthurt, about to cry. I was you know what? He's having a bad day. I'm having a good day. It's the Seahawks last game today. I got to vacuum my car, donated some clothes, bring my girlfriend a Red Bull. You know what? I'm not in no rush. Whatever. He can be in a bad mood. So then he gets it and I scans it and then it wins. Wins $10. I knew it won because it told me I won. And he was just oh my God. He legit made that sound. He's and then he kind of threw it at me. Not disrespect. He handed it, but he was kind of here. And I was okay, if you would have thrown it, we would have, I would have said something. So then I buy the Red Bull and whatever I buy for $8, and I just gave him that $10 and he just gave me the weirdest, are you kidding me? Why wouldn't I use the money I just won to buy something? So I totally used that money and I was so proud and I walked out of there. That was the gambling part in me. If you're thinking you want to go gamble on something, buy a scratch ticket. I think that's another way to, actually, I'm not condoning or telling anyone to go gamble either. I'm not advising anyone to do that. I'm not an advisor, but I feel maybe getting a scratch ticket would be better than going to spend $100 at the casino. But a lot of people would say, Dom, you're still encouraging them to go gamble. Gambling addictions are real, and maybe you shouldn't endorse it. And maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't be endorsing any gambling. But it's hard for me to be don't gamble when I put $10 a week on football lineups and on fantasy football, which is basically gambling at the same time. Also, NFTs are kind of gambling too. But so is stocks. Stocks are gambling as well. So it's like, I don't know. And I'm not no therapist either, or advisor, or NA advisor, or no, GA. Yeah. Gambling Anonymous. That's a thing, and anyone who needs their support, I support you. I actually should get into that. Like, if I were to ever give to a donation, I think that would be one of them, would be gambling addiction, or would be another good one, like obviously MMIW would be another good one. Native kids who need help. And eventually, like after that, like other kids who need help too, but like, as a native, I'd want to help other natives too. And that's just how it goes. That's just kind of primal, I feel like, at this point. But I'm so excited to be here. This is actually my first episode. I've been live on TikTok. So if you guys are listening on TikTok, shout out to you guys. And shout out to the 2 other cameras we have in here recording. Yeah, I mean, like I thought, having TikTok on would be cool. I didn't really want to be directly involved with TikTok. I didn't want to be like, hey guys, and talk, because then it would felt like a stream for the actual pod. So anyone who wanted to tune in and have like a sneak peek before the episode is actually aired, they have like that view. That's just what I thought would be cool. Another thing to just kind of create more content, be put out there. What else? I need to go get some of my stuff at my other house I have. Get my Dom Joseph podcast banner in here. You know what? My office is starting to turn into like the Native American guidance counselor, or I'm kind of like looking like the Native advisor room now. I'm starting to like realize, like, when you walk into the studio, it's like you sit down on the other side and it's like, I could tell you what classes you're going to get. Like, oh yeah, I can help you what kind of classes you want right here, which is cool. And, that's not a bad thing. Like, I don't really like, but like, I just noticed, like, when I walk in here, like, oh, look, Dom's got all the native stuff. Like, he's got the blanket. He's got the pennants. He's got the dream catcher over there. He's got, the school colors. He's got, all those kind of things going on here. So, I mean, that's kind of what it feels like at this point, So, I mean, maybe I can help someone register for a class, that would be cool. I feel like got a lot of inspiration from a lot of Native counselors or outreach coordinators or directors at colleges and high schools or community colleges. I would just go there and be like, hey, I don't know what class to take. They'd be like, how about you take English, science, and math? And I'd be like, that sounds like a great idea. That's what happened. You'd get into college. I just had to be upfront with the Native counselor, like, don't know what I want to take. How about this? Sounds like a good thing. I'll bring that home and run for council. That's kind of like what happened. You walk into the Native advisor, hey, I don't know what classes I want. How about you take these? I'm going to use those 3. I'm going to go home, make a difference, run for council. That's kind of like what kind of went through my head. At least, I don't know. I could be just thinking, but that's good. You want to go out there and make a change. You want to go out there and say, hey, I went to college and here's what I learned, or you don't really need to go there either to learn that. Hey, I went fishing overseas. I went fishing up in Alaska to learn multiple things to come back and teach. That's another thing. If you're a fisherman, I have a lot of family that's fishermen where they live and breathe it, and they, go out to Alaska, they go out to wherever they're going to go fish. They come back with that knowledge into our bay and tell the youth who are coming down how to do it, or even teach our family or younger generations, like, this is how I learned what I learned up there to fish here, or maybe where to stand, or, just like maybe they're it's the same way in that situation. Someone goes to a basketball camp, they learn how to shoot better, or they go to, over on the East Coast and learn native ways from out there, and they learn how sweats are put on, or they learn how this certain stitch for beading, or they learn how to brew a tea, or how to make a soap, or, You know, there's so many things that other than college that you can learn. You know, so I'm really a fan of that, I should say. And I'm really a fan of everyone here today. And I'm a really big fan of the moon. You know, the moon's cool, the sun's cool, the ground's cool, the sky's cool. You know, creator's pretty, you know, awesome too. You know, sage is cool, sweetgrass is cool. You know, corn, I really like corn a lot. You know, like when you get up to heaven, you know, you look at the menu, you're like, you know, is that kind of what heaven's like? You know, you go up to the creator, you're kind of like, let me get some corn, you know, that's going to be good. Some fry bread, yeah, with jam. What else we got? Let me get a Pepsi. What else? I think that will be it. You know, no tax. Oh man. Anyways, thank you guys so much for being here today. This has been actually episode 105. If you guys would like to stay with me here, continue to watch the Patreon, and I'm going to be going on for an extra 10 minutes. So if you guys are interested in something like that, let me know. I'm going to tape this. This is going to be the first episode, but I hope you guys are doing great. Hope everyone has a great one, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Talking like the lunatics, she on the Buddha shit. Prove it if you know the way. Baby, lose the lip. I don't wanna hear a no case. Spider-Man, if you scared and go and lose another chance, show me you a freak, baby. I know where to land. I just touched down and it never getting jet lag, and I'm never getting jet lag, and I'm never getting jet lag. There's a price switch, way to live this life, no, it's priceless. Born to entertain anything, I'm putting life in. Sort up to these scenes, put my knife in. Load up on my team, he my hype man. We gon' be a hype man. Messages, many of them getting sent. I can see the way they coming, looking at me different. Where you been at? Now she in the back of the stage, tryna put it on my face. Instagram for the page. Talking like the lunatics, she on the voodoo shit. Prove it if you knew the way. Baby, lose the lip. I don't wanna hear a no case. Spider-Man, if you scared and go and lose another chance, show me you a freak, baby. I know where to land. I just touched down and it never getting jet lag, and I'm never getting jet lag, and I'm never getting jet lag. Show me you a freak, baby. I know where to land. I just touched down and it never getting jet lag, and I'm never getting jet lag, and I'm never getting jet lag. Gonna get your makeup on.